At Sugar's Repair Services, we offer digitally calibrated machines, resurfacing engine heads, general machinery. Show us your pattern and we'll make
Oh, wake up, it's a brand new day. Got some things I need to say. Feeling heavy, you're not alone. Come take five, you're in the zone. Places come, hearts that care. Two good friends always there. Let the sunlight in your mind. Peace and hope you're sure to find. We'll take CJ and Jester. Talking truth and lifting pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to noon, we're holding space just for you. Take that, take your time. We're here to be in your mind. Take five, you're not alone. See, they and Esther bring you home. It's okay to not be okay. Let's talk it out, don't drift away. Mental health, it matters most. So come in close and raise a toast to the ones who fight each day. To the silent words they never say. You're strong, you're seen, you're truly heard. We got your back, you got our word. Oh, take just stop talking truth and stand pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to 9, we're holding space just for you. Take the take your time. We're here for tonight. Take time. Good night. See you again. I am not. Take that. I go on. Sure, sure, sure. Got you, see. Hey, yeah. You're not centered. You're not hearing anything? What is it again? The mic is not on, right? No, that is not. Okay. You're not centered. Move to your left a bit. You're not centered. Can we move to my left? I can move to my left. I moved to right. Okay, move. I moved to right. Move your camera. Good. Good. Okay. Let me see. You're still looking a bit funny, just move a bit. So move space, please. Okay. Okay. Not okay. Move. Move that right. Cool. Stay right there. And you want to start to speak time run. Then the commercial and start to speak to you on it. The commercial please good? Yep. Yes. Yes. Put on your mic and speak now. You are the mic stuff, no. Good. You're good. Let me say a special good morning for yet another Tuesday. Welcome to the Tip 5 Mental Health Show. Of course, I'm as usual, Jester, not sitting alongside CJ this morning. Oh my goodness gracious. Who is there? Royals. Hi, good morning to the listening public. I am Royal Charles Alexander, your typical person slash host for today. We just hope that you will enjoy, join in, call, share your thoughts and your views. And at this time, the topic for today is poverty in mental health. So, but before we get into that, we usually pray. Who's going to call in this morning to say a prayer for us before we begin? If not, if we can find anyone to call in to say the prayer, then I'll have to do the prayer myself. So in the meantime, let's send some shout outs. Good morning, greetings. Good morning to Marlon Klein, Caitlin Hallie Douglas, Coffee in the Morning, Daphne, Dayton family, the Hill Street family, the Lynn family, Bulabachi, Lorna Bean, Mary in Toronto, Junior, Alban Harris, Donna Sandy, Mr. Snag, Marlon Klein, said Marlon Klein before, Kenro, Mona, Bandy, Kat, Kathleen Ledlow, Joyce Lee Noel. Good morning to you. And let me just say good morning to Gordon Bushes Richardson of the New York City, Winter John, Leslie, Nicholas, that's Nico, Andy, Moose, Bartholomew, the Green family out there in Boston. Good morning. As we come back home, let me say special good morning to the Hill Street people, Sylvia and family, Claire in my home. Good morning. Good morning to you, Patricia Princessa. Good morning to Miss Gladys out there in my days. Yeah. Good morning to Claire Josie Pansoy in Canada. That's the original. The original CG. Oh my goodness gracious, it's a good morning, man. Son, but I think we were speaking some yeah. So there's a system that is forming. Yeah. Sure. So I will have to pray. Let you let me see what Chloe is saying. Just be patient with us, my people. As we go through a new phase. But yeah, for a minute. Hello. No, it's true. You have to take it on one. Yeah. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Morning. Good morning to your coffee. Yeah. Morning, Jester. Good morning, Miss Charles. How are you? I'm fine. Are you hearing me clearly enough? Jester. I'm here. Yeah. Wonderful. Just I realize that you feel play a lot. You want to learn to go solo sometimes. You really miss your body, but this moment. You playing man? You playing man city and take it. Let us all pray. Father, once again, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercies. We do recognize that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will be glad in it. I bring for this morning this wonderful continuing program with Claire here and Jester. And by extension, we have Charles with us. We ask you God to bless this program this morning as the topic on poverty, very important topic. So we ask you God to watch over each and every one of them. May this program continue to bless the heart of others. We ask you God to keep us. We ask you God to bless us. Watch every piece of equipment, oh God, upon that channel. Bless and keep, and let the program be successful. And let's you bless the hearers and keep each and every one of us to that important program. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Once again, Jessica, good morning. Yes, good morning to you, Coffee. Thanks for checking in and leading us in that word of prayer. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, Miss Charles. Good morning. Morning. Yes, and may you all continue to be blessed and be listening right here. So just accept my sympathy. I know that Clay not there, and if you see the face for you can hide that. Man. But yes, but yes, but you have to realize that when chicken reach a certain size more, the head doesn't let them go. But I know you're purple, so I'm listening here and I'll be a part of the program a little later. I got to this child. Bye bye. Okay. Thank you so very much. So, well, I think this doesn't to be off for the mic to be on. That's what we used to have. And once you have changed your comments, I know. That's clear enough. Yeah, yeah, that's good. All right, nice. Okay, so before we usually get into our topic, we usually have a little chit chat as what is happening. And I have two issues I want to talk about this morning. And I listened to Short Tree, you know, and Short Tree has developed to be one of the most favorite artists on Ireland to date. He has had some success, especially when it comes to the Groovy Mona. And Sean Cree himself was able to win a Groovy Mona with one of the emphasis on the Jab Jab. It sounds really nice. Like one of the favorite from. See why you jump in the band and the DJ around. See why you go to you what? But he, Sean Cree now, has the same culture that we have a chorus. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. And how's everyone doing? Very good. Oh, I just say copy of Jester. Who is it calling? I'm not sure who is calling. Who is it that is calling? I won't give that person the right to call and interrupt me at around this. I beg your pardon? You point, I wasn't thinking of point. Anyhow, but see now you want to talk about every the floor is yours. I didn't hear that. So stand down, the floor is yours. The floor is mine. Yeah. Good morning to you, Roya. Good morning. Good morning to you, Jester. Hope all is well. Good morning to all my Take Five Clan, all Take Five Clan and family. Sorry that I had to depart. I'm off island, and I put a capable person to take care of Jester because you know you can go haywire, you can go bunker, you can go rogue. So I put a capable person to take care of Jester and the program in my absence. So please give them all your
your attention and your support. And I'll be making, like Coffee says, I'll be making my contributions also. So for now, take care. Ciao. Talk to you all guys soon.
Well, thanks for calling in, Stuart. I really appreciate that. Thanks for calling.
Really? uh, bye.
Bye. That's right. So, before I was rudely interrupted here, I could have never said that you are doing it. With you. So I was making the point, Sean put it in a very nice way because I find this jab thing is really getting out of hand in this country. And if you're saying that our jab supposed to be human, why are we watering it down? Just why? You know, and that is what I see happening in this country. And as he said, the jab is not about lawlessness. And I'm very, very much concerned as to the development, what is taking place with this, with regards this so-called jab thing happening in Adahakli. We cannot afford to continue like that as a nation. Well, I just speak on that. Um, Last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, were designated as National Days of Prayer. Mm-hmm. And I think if you designate these days for prayer, right, you're supposed to halt whatever activities you have in that regard. Yeah, that could tend to. They had this launch, I think St. Andrews had the launch over the weekend. How can you have St. Andrews launch was last week Sunday, and was last Sunday was St. Andrews Carnival launch, not Sunday. Not Sunday gone. Not Sunday gone, the one before. Right, but they had some community playing jazz still, right? How can you have 2 days of national and still you have worldly activities going on, and you say you want to pray for the country? Right. See? Right? You have crews, you have crews, you have all these activities. Right. And then you designate 2 days for prayer. Yeah, so the days that was designated for prayer, so that came from the head. Churches, yeah, Oh, then we're not walking in sync here. That should be the activities. But then again, there's some other see happening there. Some people are just taking on their own, like this jab thing. People just taking on their own, just do what they want. Just block up themselves with oil and feel they could just, man. For the sake of culture, as they claim. And the reason, well, carnival launch. But I don't see carnival launch having to do anything with that. You know what I'm saying? So because they launch carnival at a certain time, from the time you just play jab, just anyhow, anytime. With the oil on the road, we have problems for vehicles, you're defacing people's building. Yeah. And then some people they have the oil on them in the nights, and they're in areas where there are no street lights. I mean, there's a problem. These people are not. But seriously, I would really, really love to see something done in that. That's one. Number two, this West Indies team, man. No matter what, right? And no matter what, we have to continue to rally behind our team. It's our team. But I really, really don't understand what is happening in West Indies cricket. Now, you could lose. You could lose. But then you don't want to lose in such a way that is like, we have lost yesterday. Like, like when somebody spit on you or somebody choking on you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this was humiliating, embarrassing, you know. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, uh, I'm wondering, right? What is the motivational factor to bring out that real fighting spirit from our West Indian cricketers? Yeah. The thing about it, I would have looked at a documentary from some of the greats of the past, like the era of the Michael Holdings and the Vic Richards and the Clive Lloyds, you know. And the thing, one of the real motivational factor behind these guys and them competing, rather, went back as far back as the plantation, when we were enslaved. So they would have played like seeking revenge for how our ancestors and our foreparents were treated. I don't see that in our crop of cricketers these days.
You saying that the drive is not there or there's no motivation?
To me, they get the bundle of money. And when these things was happening around, we are having great success under some of the players I call them. They wasn't getting that kind of money. No, I always see, you see, the money, the plenty of money they're getting now, they should just take the same amount of money and just, Clyde, Richards, Dushan. It was no justice at the time when he was bringing the film and going to us in the room. We couldn't give him that kind of money. He was take that money. No, honestly, that's all I know.
So what I think about giving the type of cricketers that will be beneficial and productive to the team West Indies.
So true. Well, to me, they're making a lot of money early because we remember we just have money from that league, the CPL. Everything becomes very much commercial in the cricket these days. So these players, they do earn money, far more money than what our real famous cricketers of the 70s and then used to be getting, And these group of cricketers are causing our rich record, which our cricketers of that era had, to just be eroded. I mean, it's embarrassing. Imagine the Australian got how much? 6 for 9, the best bowling figures against West Indies from since 1950 something. I mean, when you come to think about it, no. Man, watch, let's move on, Let's move on, seriously, because...
Okay, so let me say happy birthday to Daphne Date in Toronto. And they're requesting, a request is made for Jester to sing happy birthday to Daphne Date.
No, I can't sing that.
Why you can't sing, Jester?
Whoever is finishing that is just like... I'm on air. It's difficult for me to take a call, people. It's really difficult. So, Ryan, we'll have to take a break and then we'll come back to deal with our topics of the day.
At Sugar's Repair Services, we offer digitally calibrated machines, resurfacing engine heads, general machinery. Show us your pattern and we'll make it with precision machines. At Sugar's Repair Services, we satisfy your needs. Just ask and it will be done. Call us at 473-418-1845. Sugar's Repair Services, located at Lower Marley, St. Patrick.
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD contents with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand you can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. You certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite companies. Our product speaks for itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com.
Are you looking for that one local supermarket where you can purchase all your grocery and household items at the same time? Well, look no further. Smart Buy SA Dolphin and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street, St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. They're open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, just for your convenience. Call them today on 442-9219. That number again, 442-9219. We're shopping snacks at Snack Buy. Welcome to Take 5, your mental health program with CJ and Jester. With CJ and Jester. So we back?
All right, so we're into the topic today, poverty. So, right before you start today again on the whole topic, we must like really dissect the word or the term poverty. And what is poverty? As a human being living, right? That's how I'm going to put it. That's basically that's what it will boil down to. As a human being existing in the world today, there are some basic necessities that you're supposed to be existing. Basically, food, clothing, shelter. Right? Basic. And if you're finding it extremely difficult, right, to have that being provided for adequately, then you are in a state of poverty. and I'm talking about the extremely difficult in finding the financial resources to maintain these conditions, these basic um, necessities of life for a human being. All right. But according to the United Nations, right, still there's about 10% of the world population lives in poverty, which means they are living on the $1.90 per day. All right? And that is according to the figures of the UN. I don't make it up. You could go look, research for yourself, right? So you realize, I mean, you're talking about maybe roughly that now to about 700 million people, right? Still lives in poverty in this world today. And they real difficult conditions they may not have running water, they still maybe using the peak latrines and all them sort of things. And, especially when some of the states in Africa, places like Sudan and some places, well, a number of other places throughout the world, still certain percentage of the population go through extreme poverty. You know, so that is what we're talking about when we're talking about poverty and how can it affect us mentally. And definitely you can see why it could have a serious mental strain on us. So let's take it from there.
So, based on what I have here, poverty is a state where individuals or households lack the financial resources and essential goods and services necessary for a minimum standard of living. Right? And
That's what I'm talking about. You see, I already mentioned
standard of living.
Standard of living. Yeah.
Poverty and mental health are closely intertwined, creating a cycle where each can negatively impact the other. And poverty increases the risk of mental health problems like depression, anxiety, and substance misuse, while mental health conditions can, in turn, lead to further financial hardship and social exclusion.
Just trying to pick up with you to be on the same page with you there. Where are we? Do we okay. Read that last part where again when we here. So
No, that's so much that I did on.
oh no,
So, poverty and mental health, policy, practice, and research implication. Poverty and mental health. The mental health of individuals is shaped by the social, environmental, and economic conditions in which they are born, grow, work, and age. Poverty and deprivation are key determinants of children's social and behavioral development and adult mental health.
Okay.
In Scotland, individuals living in the most deprived areas report higher levels of mental ill health and lower levels of well-being than those living in the most affluent areas. In 2018, for example, 23% of men and 26% of women living in the most deprived areas of Scotland reported levels of mental distress indicative of a possible psychiatric disorder, compared with 12 and 16% of men and women living in the least deprived areas.
There is also a clear relationship between area deprivation and suicide in Scotland, where suicides 3 times more likely in the least than in the most deprived areas. So what I'm saying here is that the there's a high level of suicides in the areas where they are less deprived.
Yes, and speaking of suicide, I can see how it goes. Extreme poverty can lead to suicide.
Just imagine you wake up in the morning and it's like the additional burden that you have to think about how you get something to eat, how you feed your children, how it's like, and then other people come in and bring you down. Sometimes you're in that situation. I think when you reach to suicide is when you explore all avenues, you reach out to persons who you thought you could confide in, and they let you down.
Yeah.
I think suicide is really, I think, well, for me, I think it's really the last resort. Yes.
But so you see, the purpose of this program here is actually to try to reverse, because we always encourage, regardless of what difficulty one is going through, that they should really look to someone, find someone that is confident.
We have a caller. We have a caller.
Let's take the call.
Hi, good morning, caller.
Yeah, Jester again.
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Just a very, very, very well good topic. And Jester, I need to let you know that this topic, as it relates to poverty, had bring me back as a young man growing up in my community. In other words, that I was born into the boil of poverty. I, Pastor Lewis, were born into the boil of poverty. In other words, I was born in the boil of poverty to emphasize more that we, like, boy, to say it, it was like the power of all poverty, the mother of all poverty. And as Miss Charles said, and she is so right, that poverty is intertwined with mental health. And I firmly believe that. Because when you are somebody like me that born into poverty, and then you know that your parents cannot provide the basic thing that you need. You cannot be able to go to school because you don't have a shoes. You cannot be able to go to school because you cannot have a bag as the rest. And as a result of that, you look next door your neighbor and you see your neighbor's son with the best shoes, with a nice bag, with a nice socks, watch, brother, and you sit down there. And while you have to go to school with your foot on the ground, and you see your neighbor child going to school with a body socks, and mommy kissing them and say goodbye, that of itself creates that mental stress. It created that mental stress. And there are times if you as children don't be careful and your parents don't educate you, you will try to take out that rate upon your parents, not understanding why I cannot be as my neighbor's child. And I could remember going to school and see children eating a little slow home, and I cannot eat one because my mother do not have the money to give me. So I have to look at them and wish to myself that they could offer me a piece. But you know what happened, Chester and Miss Charles? This is a cost that we can be able to bring, the cost of poverty. Because whatsoever I went through, has been born into the bowl of poverty,
I create the atmosphere since I was small to make it much easier for my children not to face that poverty. I am not a wealthy guy. I do not have money, but I create the atmosphere that I can be able to live a comfortable life. I work hard to make sure that the education that my parents could not have given me because I was born in poverty, I do everything in my power to make sure that all my children achieve academically. So what I'm going to take away from that program of poverty, Miss Charles, is that poverty goes, they intertwine together with mental health. Thank you very much and very good talk. Thank you. Thank you for it. Thank you so very much. Coffee in the morning and smoking. Yes. Yeah. So, you know, interestingly, right? And he made the point that when you look at your neighbor's child, sometimes they might be pushing branded shoes, clothes, and sometimes these children come and put their parents under tremendous pressure. All right. But checking back on my school days, all right, I don't know why is it, but I always had loved school. Going to school was a struggle for me, right? I lived in Mount Craven, um, school at the St. Patrick Harrison School. That's where I got my primary school education from. Then moved to McDonald College. I never was in the habit of eating in the school. So I always will go back down home. Within about 5 minutes, I'll get back down home. Because you like to eat? No, I like what they home. And you think it's everything so nice and dandy going back home to you. Some food with some oil and I might get a little lime juice, you know. But during them days and them sometimes if you have a ripe so they will make something they call like a babali. You know, you eat as nobody will know how to eat. I went back up to school, but I always love school. And that's why I always, and I would, that philosophy is education to break the cycle of poverty. So what you want, it will, for me, it will always be education to break the cycle of poverty. So regardless to what the living condition we're going through, always try to instill in your child that you get a sound education because that is what will able to turn around the adversities. I don't know, who is to be blamed in regards to, like back then, some people, like the segregation in society in terms of I couldn't afford a TV. And if you could afford a TV, you were Mr. Who and Mr. This and Mr. That. Yeah. And going way back, who do you think has to take the blame for that type of segregation in terms of not looking to say, well, like I have and never call. Let's say that. Hello, caller. Good morning. Hello. 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 Oh, okay. We're not sharing you. Oh, sorry. We can't make contact, the kind of contact we will need to with this caller. Maybe they will try back. So that's why you were making the point. Yeah. It's just a perception, really. And then the thing about it, some people definitely have more resources. Hello.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay. So we're talking about poverty this morning. And when you look at it, you will think that it's just, and they call it a third world country that suffers with poverty. Now,
based on what I've heard so far, Glasgow, this is in Scotland, and the rate of suicide there is really high based on the poverty that is taking place there. So we have to look at it from the global point where you see it's not only in certain parts of the world, every country in the world has some form of poverty taking place. And when you look at the percentage of the deprived areas and the rate of suicide in those countries, you have to wonder if your life was bad compared to the rich countries that people live in, and we see the height of poverty there. So there's a saying that the rich get richer and the poor get poor, and that is not that is not no chance at all that this come up. This is by design, because when countries are really rich and they look at the poor country never really gets what is due to them to make the people survive in the way that they ought to. So that's why we have that high rate of poverty in different lands around the globe. And the way I see it, as you were saying, just when we were growing up, we had some fig and oil or some sprat with a couple of black sage. We go to school, we had the black sage and the black sage. Just doing that and we go back to school. And I will tell ourselves we are poor. While in other parts of the world, there are people sitting out of garbage cans and garbage bins, and you look at it and you wonder, well, what causes that to happen? But society has made it in a way that you cannot survive in certain parts of the world if you do not have the finances, the resources, and everything to survive. So I think this is a really, really good topic that everyone should really pay attention to, because some of us think that we have it made and we don't have it made at all. While we might be able to buy some food at certain times, there are people that really can't, and they really do go in deep despair. And as you said, suicide is the last place that people should be going, but a lot of people are going that way because of how they're seeing their life and how they cannot look after their families and themselves. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for your contribution there. As she stated, I believe every country, every country in the world today have their share of poverty existing one way or the other. That's why I believe the United Nations, they get it right based on their figures.
So then, based on her comment, we have to look at what level of poor is poverty.
That's the thing, because because if you go to the
If you go to comparison,
yes,
then you looking at you saying your person in Grenada that poor because they don't have a house or the living condition is below standard. And then when you travel somewhere else, and you look at that, you say, well, I ain't going through anything compared to what you're going through.
Yeah, because you ever heard about this story that the man that had the right banana, he said one boy two survive only have right banana. So when he ate the right banana and he threw the skin, somebody came and picked up the skin to eat. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just to drive home the point.
Yeah. What level of poor is really poverty?
Yeah. Oh boy, it's not easy. But I will just continue where I left from. And in those days, I don't believe that teachers, I don't know if they do it today, I don't really believe that they should place the emphasis so much in a practical sense as to why it is so necessary that you really grab in the education. They only make mention of like to drag themselves and the family out of the poverty. I didn't used to hear this sort of emphasis being placed. Back then when I'm going to school. Yes, you go to school and they teach you, they will tell you it's important to have the education, but they don't tell you why. They don't bring real conditions forward as to why you should really soak it in, right? And contemplate based on the reason that should be given as to why education will be such priority. It's like I when I check back and I say when I went to McDonald College and the subjects were offered in Form 3. And today I was kind of regret I did not think of Spanish. They offer you and that's it, you want to learn it. you don't want to learn it, that's up to you. They never really place the emphasis why it is so important to have a foreign subject. I don't know that at home. I understand that today. I would have approached that quite differently. I don't know if they have changed the methodology in terms of making children understand as to why. But I think these things should be mandatory. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Give them real reasons as to why. Okay. You don't just leave it up to them. Yeah. Sink it in them as to why it is so important that you do. Because I tell you, and I was going out in Spanish. Yeah. But nobody couldn't say, well, it's really important that you for such and such reason. But no, it's just left all up to you. Yeah. The number to call is 404-1189 to make your contribution. So let's continue. Inequalities in mental health emerge early in life and become more pronounced throughout childhood. In one cohort study, 7.3% of 4-year-olds in the most deprived areas of Glasgow were rated by the teacher displaying abnormal social behavior and emotional difficulties, compared with only 4.1% in the least deprived areas. By age 7, the gap between these groups had widened substantially. 14.7% of children in the most deprived areas were rated as having abnormal difficulties, compared with 3.6% of children in the least deprived. These figures are alarming. Yeah, it is. So you just prove that the behavior changes. They have a different behavior compared to normal children. Some of them might be a lot more aggressive, towards other children. But if you are looking at the gap of the figures, to me, it's a wide, it's wide, National data from parental ratings of children's behavior shows a similar pattern. At around 4 years of age, 20% of children living in the most deprived areas of Scotland are rated as having borderline or abnormal levels of difficulties, compared with only 7% living in the least deprived areas. And these findings reflect a broader pattern of socio-economic inequalities in health that is observed internationally. The primary causes of these inequalities are structural differences in socio-economic groups' access to economic, social, and political resources, which in turn affects health through a range of more immediate environmental, psychological, and behavioral processes. A wide range of risk factors are more prevalent among low-income groups, for example, including low level of perceived control and unhealthy behaviors, such as smoking and low levels of physical activities. Although these are best understood as mechanisms that link the cultural causes of inequality to health outcomes. I believe the structural causes. Structural causes. Yeah, smoking. Smoking is one. Smoking is a killer. Exactly, but it's imagine, yes, that some people put aside money to smoke. Yeah, and if you realize some government, what they do is to try to tax the item heavy, as a sort of deterrent that they will look to purchase. But it does not be successful, because regardless of what, if you take a cigarette and make one for $5, they still will purchase. That's just the harsh reality.
Yeah. So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Sugar's Repair Services, we offer digitally calibrated machines, resurfacing engine heads, general machinery. Show us your pattern and we'll make it with precision machines. At Sugar's Repair Services, we satisfy your needs. Just ask and it will be done. Call us at 473 418 1845. Sugar's Repair Services, located at Lower Marley, St. Patrick.
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD contents with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand. You can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. We certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite company itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com.
Are you looking for that one local supermarket where you can purchase all your grocery and household items at the same time? Well, look no further. Smart Buy SA Belford and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street, St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. And we are back.
So welcome back to our listeners and viewers.
This is take 5 for another Tuesday. Let us say good morning to Kathleen Ledlow. Thank you for checking in. Chance the Gamer. Mary, Lorna Bean, Marlon Klein. Good morning. Thank you for checking in.
And in the interest of those that just joined us, we are on the topic poverty and how it affects mentally. And so where you are, the excess morality and mental health in Glasgow, I think that's very rich.
Okay.
I'm looking at it still if you want.
So, Glasgow, um, excess mortality and mental health in Glasgow. Glasgow has some of the highest Scottish rates of income deprivation. Working age adults claiming out of work benefits and children living in low income families. Moreover, the city also reports poor mental health relative to the Scottish average on a host of indicators, including lower mental health, lower mental well-being and life satisfaction, and higher rates of common mental health problems. Prescriptions for anxiety, depression, or psychosis, and greater numbers of patients with hospital admissions for psychiatric conditions. And these statistics are consistent with Glasgow's overall health profile and high rates of mortality. The life expectancy in Glasgow is the lowest in Scotland. For example, men and women born in Glasgow in 2016 to 2018 can expect to live 3.6 and 2.7 fewer years, respectively, than the Scottish average.
Oh yeah? Wow.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So it even number your years you may tend to live.
Yes, so then the rate of poverty there is very, very, very high.
That's how far they go to narrow it down. Wow.
So within Glasgow, men and women living in the most deprived areas of the city can expect to live 13.5 and 10.7 fewer years, respectively, than those living in the least deprived areas. The high level of mortality in Glasgow can largely be attributed to the effects of deprivation and poverty in the city. Although high levels of excess mortality have also been recorded in Glasgow, meaning a significant level of mortality in excess of that can be explained by deprivation. For example, premature mortality, and that is deaths under 65 years of age. You call that premature? Premature deaths, 65 years?
Premature. The man said, according to the Bible, you're supposed to lose.
Three scores and 10 was.
Exactly. So,
In right now, there's a lot. And it's 30% higher in Glasgow compared with Liverpool and Manchester, despite the similar levels of deprivation between these cities. Crucially, this excess premature mortality is in large part driven by higher rates of deaths of despair in Glasgow, namely deaths from suicide and alcohol and drug-related causes. So we see here drug and alcohol play a big part in the deaths, the number of deaths in last year. It has been proposed that excess mortality in Glasgow can be explained by a number of historical processes that have rendered the city especially vulnerable to the hazardous effects of deprivation and poverty. These include the life effects of historically high levels of deprivation and overcrowding. Regional policies that saw industry and sections of the population move out of Glasgow, the nature of urban change in Glasgow during the post-war period and its effects on living conditions and social connections, and Labour government responses to UK policies during the 1980s. On the last point, Walsh and colleagues described how the UK government introduced a host of neoliberal policies during this period, including rapid industrialization that had particularly adverse effects in the cities such as Glasgow, Manchester, and Liverpool. While Liverpool, Manchester, and Liverpool were able to mitigate the negative effects of these national policies to some extent by pursuing urban regeneration and mobilizing the political participation of citizens, there were fewer such effects made in Glasgow, which contributed to the diverging health profiles of the city. These researchers have also suggested that this excess mortality may partly reflect an inadequate measurement of deprivation. However, that does not capture the reality of living in poverty. One aspect of this lived experience that may be important is the experience of poverty-based stigma and discrimination. And stigma is a fundamental cause of health inequalities and international evidence that has demonstrated that poverty stigma is associated with poor mental health among low-income groups, with individuals living in socioeconomically deprived areas may also experience partial stigma, which similarly has a range of adverse health effects for residents and crucially may be unintentionally exacerbated by media and public health professionals' reports of regional health inequalities. I'll just have a break.
No?
Let's have a
Okay. Are we off?
Digitally calibrated machines, resurfacing engine heads, general machinery. Show us your pattern and we'll make it with precision machines. At Sugar's Repair Services, we satisfy your needs. Just ask and it will be done. Call us at 473 418 1845. Sugar's Repair Services, located at Lower Marley, St. Patrick.
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD contents with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand. You can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. We certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite companies. Our product speaks for itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com.
Are you looking for that one local supermarket where you can purchase all the grocery and household items at the same time? Well, look further. Smart Buy SA Dolphin and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street, St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. They're open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, just for your convenience. Call them today on 442-9219. That number again, 442-9219. We're shopping snacks at Snack Buy. Welcome to Take 5, your mental health program with CJ and Jester. With CJ and Jester. looking for that one local supermarket where you can purchase all your grocery and household items at the same time? Well, look no further. Smart Buy SA Dolphin and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street, St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. They're open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, just for your convenience. Call them today on 442-9219. That number again, 442-9219. We're shopping snacks at Snack Buy. Welcome to Take 5, your mental health program with CJ and Jester. With CJ and Jester. And we are back. We are on the topic poverty and mental health. And we said that poverty and mental health are closely intertwined, creating a cycle where each can negatively impact the other. And poverty can increase the risk of mental health problems like depression, anxiety, and substance misuse. While mental health conditions can in turn lead to further financial hardship and social exclusion. So let us take a more detailed look at the relationship between mental health and poverty. How poverty affects mental health. One, it increases stress. And living in poverty exposes individuals to a constant barrage of stressors, including food insecurity, housing instability, and lack of access to healthcare, leading to chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels. So stress plays a big part in living with poverty.
Because, well, one would understand that because, take for example, you as a family you might have some children and you know these children crying,
And you can't provide.
cannot provide the meals to them and they continue to cry in your head. And, and these things lead to all sorts of things. Some people do things that they never wanted to do with a clear conscience.
Right.
But because of the prevailing conditions that relates to the stress that poverty brings on,
Yeah.
then you'll find that they had to do certain things against their conscience, And I heard of a number of stories, even as way back of estate workers, especially with ladies, because even if they were working at the estate, they couldn't just like cut a bunch of bananas and carry it home like that. They had to get the green light from the the person that in charge. So it's called the overseer of the estate. And then in some instances, where it boiled back down to sexual feelings.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even now, it's happening now. More yeah. Because you have a lot of.
And that's just so sad.
Yeah.
Just so sad. It breaks my heart to know that
in a position,
people have to, subject themselves,
right.
To that against the conscience because they want to, supply that need and sex has to come into play. I'm telling you, it really, really bleeds my heart. That is not something I feel comfortable at all about.
Right.
know?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it happens today because you see, some people might quick to judge some women
Yeah.
with some other children, and I say, well, so what potential she can see my going on in the world? You're gonna make a whole set of children, and sometimes she didn't even go to have a child. That person promised to help her, and then that man take advantage.
Yeah.
And she didn't do it because she wants to. Something happened because she don't have a choice.
Yeah, especially back then, the conditions, not like now. There are a lot of means of women could protect themselves these days from getting unwanted pregnancy. It wasn't like that before, you know. And sadly, so some women went through sexual abuse because they couldn't provide adequately for the children back home.
Sure.
Just so sad.
It says here about the lack of access to health care. When you can't you can't go to the doctor, something happens to you and you can't go to the doctor. There's a big stress
Yeah.
on you. Even leading to chronic stress, where you get hypertension, high blood pressure,
Yeah. Yes.
and all this because you're stressing, the worrying.
Yeah, the stress would, affect your pressure, even your blood sugar. So it's not an easy thing. So as you make mention of your child may be sick. So where is that dollar coming from to carry he or she to the doctor? These are the kind of mental strain that are some parents. Yeah.
And then you claim that healthcare is free, but is healthcare really free?
Nothing. Healthcare is not free. Not at all.
Because sometimes you go to the health center and the services, you have to go and pay private.
Yeah.
Where you getting the money to do it?
Healthcare is not free. That is not true entirely at all. Because it boils down to getting the medication. When you have to visit the pharmacy, you have to have money to buy medication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, your second poverty affects mental health by social isolation and stigma. So people experiencing poverty may face social exclusion and stigma due to their financial circumstances, leading to feelings of shame, low self-worth, and isolation. And that's a big thing.
Yeah, and it all boils back down to financial resources. So, financial resources. That is so hard.
When we speak about
Some
feeling of shame, leading to feelings of shame, when you don't have,
yes.
it cannot be embarrassment.
Yeah.
You have to, the feeling of guilt.
Yeah. You have to go and ask somebody to lend, all of that. That's why one of the artists, I think it was Freddie McGregor, had a song, "To be poor is a crime." Man had to know that in at this time. Yeah, there's a song like that. Yeah. It's like there's a talk called like when you're poor, you're exposed.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, isolation. People don't want you.
Yeah.
It's like she need me. He need me. Don't come to me. So it's like you're always dependent on that person. Limited access to support. Poverty can restrict access to mental health services, therapy, and other resources that can help manage mental health conditions.
So look at that. The poverty, the help you may need, still poverty could help deprive you of.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying in short. You understand? So that's just to tell you how poverty or extreme poverty is something that is not good at all, for no reason, only negative that could be aligned.
So it just shows that even though the resources are there, if you don't have money or if you're poor, you still can access it. So like if you want to go for therapy and you don't have the money, it's still a problem.
Still a problem that exists.
Yeah. So poverty can have an impact on children. And children from low income families are more likely to experience mental health difficulties, potentially impacting their development and future opportunities.
That's quite true. And we have to look at that from the point of view of, you know, children that going through extreme poverty, like the parents cannot provide for them adequately. They tend to become very susceptible to those that have a little more oil. You understand? You know, they can create that sort of influence on them. You know, and that's the bad thing. That is what usually happens under such condition.
Specific events, such as holidays and other social events, can exacerbate financial stress and increase feelings of inadequacy and isolation for those struggling with poverty. And in that case, here we're speaking about holidays like Christmas. Everybody wants to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
You see, your neighbor buy a case of drink and it will affect you because you can't do it. We're not loud. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So I've been listening to you, Roy, and there's something the previous thing where it says that I know you're talking about Glasgow in Scotland. That is what the research is based on. But when you look at it, it says that the deaths from suicide, alcohol, and drug-related causes, all that comes about because of poverty. So when I think about it, we say that is centered in Glasgow, but think about us in Grenada. We have the same kind of issues. You see people walking around the streets drunk. You see some people looking around, they're depressed and so. But we as individuals do not really know what is going on with them in their life. And it could be that because they look up and they look down and they cannot find the money to buy food, they cannot buy medication, they cannot do anything. So the next resort is to drink to numb what it is that they're going through.
Yeah.
And there's some other point just now that says that what did you say about mothers who had to work on the estates and they couldn't get a bunch of fever, a bunch of rubber, and then they had to sell themselves to the plantation owners to get food for their children. And this is something that we may not have plantation right now, but this is something that is going on right now as we speak in all kinds of countries. So, as you said, poverty is not a one country thing, it's global. But really, the ironic part about it, there is food. Research shows that there is food in this world to feed every man, woman, and child. No one needs to go hungry. So, what is the cause? What is the problem?
Thank you.
Going, sir? Oh, she gone.
Thank you for your question. So, how mental health affects poverty? Mental health affects poverty through the loss of employment. Mental health conditions can make it difficult to maintain employment, leading to job loss, reduced income, and increased financial strain. So if you're going through, if you're stressed, if you're if you're stressed or going through a lot, it will have a negative impact on you in regards to you having a job. It will have a bigger, make a bigger
a deter in the way like your level of productivity. You might not be able to focus because your mind, imagine you're on the job and your mind is focused on, when I reach home, I don't know what I give them train tickets. I don't know where I get some money to pay for the next day.
Yeah. That's a normal way of functioning.
Right.
That's the kind of mental stress that poverty leads to. You know?
Yeah, it will slow job loss. Because if you can't function on the job, then eventually they'll fire you.
How much? One of the hardest thing for me to come across.
We get another call. Let's take that on. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jester. Good morning, Roy.
Hi, good morning.
You
Good
guys
morning to
doing
you,
a great
Lorna.
job this morning, holding the fort.
We try.
Trying hard.
Yeah. Mm, That's good. Yes. So I was going back to the relationship between poverty and mental health because you can take a perfectly normal person and let's say they have a mental breakdown, right? Now, this can lead them to poverty. And why? Because they cannot work anymore. Or they might be underemployed, that they're not making the amount of money that they made before. So as mentioned, there is a relationship between poverty and mental illness because poverty could lead to mental illness, whereas mental illness can also lead to poverty. And sometimes you see people on the streets, and you may, if you have a conversation with them, you may be surprised to find out the kind of life that they led before. But because they had a mental breakdown and they haven't received the care that they need, then it leads them to poverty. I know it has a lot of that right here in Canada. So, what's the solution? I'm thinking that the solution lies both with the individual and also with the system. So you have to empower the individual, as you mentioned before, education. So education starts at an early age, and this could lead many families out of um, poverty. So it means that you have to have government providing access to education, healthcare, job opportunities, and then they also have to have programs that where people, if they suffer a mental breakdown, could get the proper treatment and go back to living a normal life in society. So that's how I see the connection between mental health and poverty. One can lead to the other, whereas you could have a perfect person not in poverty, but they could end up in poverty because of suffering mental health issue. So this is my contribution for today. I'm thinking I'm hearing a little background noise, so I'm not sure if it's coming through clear. So have a great day,
Yes.
everybody.
Yes. Thank you so very much for your contribution.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. There was a little distortion there, which I was able to identify. Yes, but very, very, very worthwhile contribution like coming in from the caller as usual. So let's move on around.
Okay. So the number to call is 404-1189 to make your contribution. We're speaking on the topic poverty and mental health. Mental health affects poverty by social relationships. Untreated mental health problems can disrupt social relationships, leading to isolation and further impacting a person's ability to seek support and employment. Negative impact on productivity. Mental health challenges can affect an individual's ability to function effectively, impacting their productivity at work and their ability to contribute to the community. So, how do we address the issue of poverty and mental health? First, we need intervention targeting poverty and addressing poverty related issues like food insecurity, housing instability, and unemployment can help alleviate some of the stressors that contribute to mental health problems. Right? So, as Paula mentioned before, we need intervention. We need to improve access to mental health care by expanding access to affordable and quality mental health services, particularly for low income individuals, is crucial. Reducing the stigma, combating stigma surrounding mental health and poverty can encourage individuals to seek help without fear or judgment or discrimination. So, in essence, they're saying here we need to stop labeling. You're going through we're going through a phase. That's how we say it. We normally say you're going through a phase, and everybody label you as a madman. You're mad. Yeah. You know, so we need to avoid stigmatization, right? So a holistic approach. We need a holistic approach, and a holistic approach that considers both the social and economic factors contributing to mental health problems is essential for creating effective solutions. And by understanding the complex interplay between poverty and mental health, we can work towards developing targeted intervention and policies that promote well-being and break the cycle of the disadvantage. Let us take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. It will take up time.
repair services, we offer digitally calibrated machines, resurfacing engine heads, general machinery. Show us your pattern and we'll make it with precision machines. At Sugar's Repair Services, we satisfy your needs. Just ask and it will be done. Call us at 473 418 1845. Sugar's Repair Services, located at Lower Marley, St. Patrick.
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD contents with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand. You can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. We certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite companies. Our product speaks for itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com.
Are you looking for that one local supermarket where you can purchase all your grocery and household items at the same time? Well, look further. Smart Buy SA Belford and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street Hotel St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. They're open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, at 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, just for your convenience. Call them today on 442-9219. That number again, 442-9219. We're shopping snacks, snack by.
Welcome to Take 5, your mental health program with CJ and Jester. With CJ and Jester.
And we are back.
So, Linton Home Shirts, welcome back, listeners and viewers of Take 5. With topics of discussion, poverty and how it affects mental health.
So, given the continued focus on Glasgow's relatively poor health, it is possible that the city is more vulnerable to such stigmatizing process. However, we stress that additional research will be required to test whether stigma is an important aspect of the lived reality of poverty, particularly as several socio-social explanations have already been offered for the excess mortality, with varying levels of supportive evidence. The notion of intersectional stigma is also gaining traction and requires further research. Understanding the life force impact of poverty on mental health is also important. Childhood adversity is one mechanism through which poverty and deprivation have an impact on mental health. adverse childhood experience, such as exposure to abuse or household dysfunction, are relatively common in the population. So, growing up in a house where there has always been abuse,
Yeah.
it affects one mentally.
Yes. There are some children to date, they don't let go to some of the experiences they had in growing up. And there are so many cases of where children go through the insult of poverty in some instances, like especially if it is a child um, growing up in a home and is not that person is not the mother or the father. A lot of children suffer as a result of that. In some instances, you will see that they were made to eat the bread that the devil needed. You know? Yeah. It happened. And my thing is, I don't understand how some human beings will have a heart to choose some children that way. And it is just because that child has not come from inside. Basically, that's what it is. How do they have such a heart of stone to treat some children the way they are treating them? Honestly, I know definitely I can never have a conscience to treat any human being like that. Showing such great inequality as to like the way you treat your child and you treat somebody else's child. And a lot of children, when you hear some people talk of their experiences that they had in growing up, man, it brings tears to your cheeks, and that is not a good thing. So, parents, although who are listening to this program, you might be in charge of a child that does not come from inside. That does not give you a reason to abuse them in such a way. In fact, in some few instances, Roya, you also heard of the story, like parents that would have taken care of children that were not theirs, even if the child was around too, and treating them nice. They get better treatment in return as to how they look after them later in life. Yes, that's true. Than their own children. Yeah. Understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it is imperative that you don't treat children with this big inequality. Yeah? Sure. Yeah. And another example. Children growing up in a household where they see the father abusing the mother. And sometimes simple things. Sometimes she just go to him and ask for something from children. And probably he don't have it. So he just take all the rage and everything and I just children seeing that every time. That could cause a mental strain on the children, even if you did not that. In fact, the negatives about that is just so great. That sometimes for example, when children grow older in life, and you might find that the level of arrogance, high. And then when you check back, sometimes that's where it stems from. Seeing this abuse being taking place in the home, can cause them to turn out in such a way, being so arrogant, Yeah, sure. Yeah, and being so hasty and everything like that, So it is not really good. And then, actually, I don't understand in this day and age why women will still take any physical abuse in a relationship. I mean, come on. I see that should never be happening, not in this day and age. No. Women should not stay in a physical abuse relationship for whatever reason. They should. No, I don't know kind of nonsense you can't talk like if you don't know. I mean, but there's some women what we still don't there because well, it comes from the mouth of some women that yes, if the man don't love them and such. Yeah. I mean, it just amazes me here in such kind of negative. No, I look more words about it. I mean, come on. Yeah, yes. No. No. So, adverse childhood experiences such as exposure to abuse or household dysfunction are relatively common in the population. So, Marriott and Frank examined the prevalence of 7 adverse childhood experiences among children born in 2004 to 2005 in Scotland and found that approximately 2/3 had experienced at least one adverse experience by age 8. So, moreover, the prevalence was greatest in low-income households. Only 1% of children in the highest income household had 4 or more adverse childhood experiences, compared with 10.8% in the lowest income households. That shouldn't be surprising. The figures are not surprising because it all boils back down to the money, financial resources, and money that sustain that what does you say standard of living. Yeah. But when you look at it, you can also argue that there is a great percentage of children that still come out, okay, out of situations. Well, that's true too, because a lot of children that did well, I know back then in growing up, was children who I know that did not have it so nice. Yeah, they were struggling. Yeah, but they did well academically. When the results came on from during those days was GCE levels. That was more popular back then in the 70s and such. And these children did very, very well. Much better than those that was able to give a higher, better standard of living to the church. Yeah. And as I know, during them days, they sure never have to study, only they do studying at night. With candles and... In some cases, awesome too. Right. According to my friend CJ, she said she was going to figure out how to bury the candle. Yes. Candles, awesome too. Yeah. That was the form of life for them. Right. Back then. A street light, well, you not much street light as what you have now. that was a very scarce thing. It's hard, but it's just far apart. So, adverse childhood experiences are also strong predictors of mental health in adulthood. We spoke about that, the long-term effects. Yeah. Individuals who have experienced at least 4 are at a considerably greater risk of mental health problematic alcohol use and drug misuse. Yeah. It has also been suggested that experiences of childhood adversities and complex trauma may contribute to Glasgow's and Scotland's excessive mortality, particularly that which is attributable to violence, suicide, and alcohol and drug-related deaths. The implications are significant for psychiatry. Not only does it offer a broader explanation of causation, it also highlights the importance of supporting early interventions for young people's mental health and supporting the families, including children, of those experiencing mental health problems. So, implications. When faced with the scale of the challenge, the response can be daunting. This is especially so
at a time when we see increasing poverty and socioeconomic inequalities within our society and challenging political conditions. The complexity and enduring nature of the problem necessitates a multi-level response from psychiatry across practice, policy, and advocacy and research, which we explore in this section. We argue that this response should address the three broad areas.
The complexity and enduring nature of the problem is necessitating a multi-level response from the psychiatry, plus practice, policy, advocacy, and research, which we explore in this section. We argue that this response should address three broad areas. I
think that should be a continuation. It should be a continuation.
Let's just come back to there before we do. What do you think is the level of extreme poverty in Grenada? What percent, if you have to ask, what percentage will you put it at? I think there is a genuine effort in Grenada by our government, both the past and present, to alleviate poverty. Yeah, because let's take, for example, the putting in of the bathroom and toilets, because the past government was doing it, and now this government is doing it. This government is doing it under the new wash program. So
even the programs, the involvement in a lot of the young people program, Imani and so forth, they give a lot of people like stability, in a sense that they at least they know at the end of the month where they have a source of income.
Yeah.
And I say about less than 5% poverty rate.
Because that's extreme poverty you're talking about. Extreme. No. That figure might be.
Yeah, less than.
Yeah. In terms of normal poverty, might just be around 2. Yeah. Maybe just maybe about 8%, 8 to 10% from all of the. I put it that it's just my figures, me personally. That is not people. That is not that don't come from no scientific data that was done. That's just a personal opinion. I don't understand that. Because I don't want them to take it based as gospel and say, well, how have you been doing with these figures? What's
have you been outside? I've been to
the survey that was done on his not to be
do you know my situation? Yeah, have you ever visited home?
Yeah, but I'm seeing is that in the effort of building back houses for people and making an extra effort to put in bathroom and toilet for people that did not have. Also, the move that was made by the government, at one time, it was very, very difficult to approach Nawasa to get water and all that kind of thing. I think the government would have made a move that to alleviate that problem so that people could, it become much easier that they could go and apply for water now because running water is important. That could be a determining factor as to the level of poverty, or the lack thereof.
Yes. Even though there's still room for improvement.
Yeah.
The main thing, you have the water, you could have all these necessities, but you must have money. You must have a source of income.
Yes, that is important too.
There is still room for improvement. And we thank our listeners so much for their participation in the program today. We have come to the end of our program, Poverty and Mental Health. We look forward to another program and to your participation in the next program.
But to the folks out there, I say thank you so very much for tuning in for yet another Tuesday on the Take 5 Mental Health Show. We'll endeavor to bring another interesting topic for next Tuesday, God's will. You'll join us then. For now, I say so long. My name once again, Jester. Well, God's richest blessing for today, Tuesday. Tuesday being what day today? Is it the 15th? Yeah.
July.
Half of the month has already gone. Thank you so very much, folks. I'm out of here.